our 45 minutes of being away from the dogs and mental health, really. That's the only reason that we train anymore. Because if I don't come in here, I am a cranky ass. Yeah.
We'll set out, we'll write a schedule, like everything's lined up, and then, you know, this dog shits itself, this dog's got to go to the vet, we got to walk so-and-so, or, you know, we're driving 22
we see a dog
hours.
That we want at the shelter, we're like, we're leaving, let's go. I really, really try not to look at my phone while I'm working out, but with the rescue and having fosters and dogs that are medical, like I cannot not look at my phone. He gets a little.
You could not look at it.
No.
The world
we can't.
might burn.
It might. That's my fear. You just can't put your phone down because of the cases that we take on. We don't take on easy cases. We don't take on healthy dogs. Rarely. They're either extreme medical. They're about to be put down. They have like a 24 or 72 hour notice. Seniors that have been dropped off at the shelter, or behavioral. Those, believe it or not, end up costing the rescue the most amount of money, and they're with us the longest because they were either dropped off at the shelter because they were aggressive, were reactive on leash, they were resource guarding, and to put a dog through really intense training, you're looking at like 4 to 8 weeks of training, which equals roughly to like $4,000 of training. I mean, granted, some of these dogs that we take on medically, one surgery can be $6,000, and everything is just funded through donations. We try to keep a certain amount of money in our accounts for the rescue, just in case one of our dogs in the rescue has a medical emergency. You never know. I mean, a dog can be running around the backyard and break its leg, and that's a $5,000 surgery. So we try to keep a certain amount of money in our rescue account so that if an accident does happen, we're not scrambling or super stressed, about the dogs we have in the rescue. And that's how we start to allocate funds to the dogs that we currently have, and if we can afford to take another one on. It's just how much money do we currently have? How much money do you think we can raise for this dog? And so on and so forth.
One of the first dogs we pulled like 7 months ago was Mateo, and he looked like a Demodex dog, and maybe some GI issues, we weren't sure.
Demodex is a skin infection. It's very easy, antibiotics, and then 2 baths a week with medicated shampoo.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at well under $1,000. But those are the notes we got from the shelter, nothing too crazy. He ended up being cryptorchid, which means his ball shot up into it as his abdomen got twisted. They're the size of softballs, and it was like $6,000.
Yep.
By the time it was all said and done, so you got to have a certain amount of money before we even consider pulling a dog. Something crazy could happen. That dog is no better off with us broke than it is in a shelter. So we make sure we have funds for sure.
So we are creatures of habit when it comes to food. We literally eat at 3 different places here, one of which is Chop Chop. So that's where we're going next, grab some food, and then back home, we're there the rest of the evening pretty much, unless we have to go run an errand, because we have to rotate. We need firewood. We can rotate doggos when we get back. Feeding time and rotating time, so you guys get to meet the dogs.
Yeah.
So these are the dogs that are just some of the dogs that are here in Texas. We have 2 that are in fostering. Yeah. Okay, off we go.
That's it. That is pretty much the 45 minutes out of the house we get. It's 45 minutes out of the house.
Yep.
And then we're going to Chop Shop, or we hit the Starbucks across the street. And then it's back to rotating.
We can't just get away for long periods of time because the dogs need us. So.
Yeah. I mean, if we, because we've done it a few times, we've probably logged 200-300 hours at a Sprinter van in the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. Going back and forth from LA to Texas or Texas, LA, picking up, pulling dogs, placing dogs. We actually have grown to love it. It's kind
I love
of
my road trip time.
Yeah, it's kind of our time together outside the house. But it's a friend of the family, watching the dogs, because like Steph said, we can't put a Wendy or a Layla when we had her into boarding. Now, if they need to be medically boarded, that's different. But it's hard for us to get away, so that's transporters are huge, and fosters are always huge.
Huge.
Yeah, the more fosters we have, the more we can get out of the house.
No, well, and the more dogs we can save.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. No, truly.
Yeah, fosters are gold. Fosters are everything. And whenever you foster for any rescue, they should take care of everything for you guys. We're hearing horror stories of people fostering and being financially responsible for supplies or medical, or rescue goes MIA.
Yeah.
Do your homework. If you're thinking about fostering for someone or fostering for an organization, do your homework. See what they provide you. Make sure that you have contracts to keep you safe, keep the dogs safe. You know, we're very hands-on with our rescue because we've seen it all. We've seen a lot of mistakes happen. We see the ugly side of rescue, and we see these horror stories of rescues taking advantage of fosters, which is really disheartening because we work our asses off to make sure that our fosters have everything that they need, that we're always available to them.
Yeah, I mean, fosters, they're the only people that contact us now.
Yeah, we don't have friends.
And family.
We don't have friends. No. We don't have friends or family anymore.
Unfortunately, our fosters, you have access to us 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're gonna shoot back.
Yep.
We're gonna rotate the dogs. You guys are gonna get to meet all of them. Yeah.
All right. So whenever we get home, it's rotating dogs.
Yeah.
Like we don't even use the restroom ourselves. It's get home. The dogs need to be rotated. So first, our Walter and Helen, they always go out first because they get really, really anxious. So
it just so happens it's feeding time too. It's gonna go to the bathroom and then feed, and they'll get more time out. Yeah. This one's quick.
Yeah,
we gotta rally the troops.
This is a quick rotate.
Yeah, so Steph's gonna send them.
I send them out.
Hi, Wendy. Send it.
Watch this. Oh, she knows. People are coming. People are coming.
Outside.
This is the pharmacy for the other dogs. This bowl is pretty much meds. Steph and I are not medicated, I swear. Just the dogs. So. But yeah, for us, this is kind of an all-day thing. Not the feeding part, but I mean, there's always one dog out with us. And I mean, every like 2 hours, we rotate all the dogs. Everyone gets like 20, 30 minutes outside, whether it's one-on-one time, we're playing with them, or we take them for a walk. But yeah, mornings, one of us, if not both of us, is up at 6 a.m. And before we even start coffee, like food bowls are out, dogs are going outside, kind of like right now, just to make sure they can go potty. And this is the pharmacy that is Mr. Rogers right here.
My sweet boy. Mr. Rogers is one of the longest residents in the Powerful Rescue. He's been with us for a little over a year. Mr. Rogers actually had a foster to adopt home. And these pills are really weird. I need to break them up into fourths.
Yeah,
like, look at this tiny thing. This needs to be broken up into a fourth. But Mr. Rogers had a foster to adopt home, and the family was super sweet, and they really, really loved him. And they just got really comfortable with him. Mr. Rogers was laying on the floor, and she bent down and kissed him on the face.
It's a big no-no.
It's a big no-no when you don't really know a dog all that well. It's really easy to fall in love with a dog and get really comfortable and, you know, think that the dog has completely decompressed. But Mr. Rogers is a senior dog who probably went through his years of trauma with his previous family. And he was dumped at the shelter as a senior, so we don't know what his triggers are. So putting your face on a dog's face that you don't know is asking to get bit. But this family had good intentions. They wanted to adopt him. But unfortunately, after that incident, they didn't feel safe with him. We did find out after I picked him up that he actually had a very severe ear infection on the side where she kissed his face. So he was probably in pain anyways. So he's been in the rescue for over a year now, and I love him. So you guys are gonna meet him now.
Hi, Rogers.
This is Mr. Rogers. He's 11.
He's your typical Velcro Dobie.
I didn't get it.
Like, super lovey dog. He just wants to be on you all day.
Yeah.
He is hospice though. He's definitely older. He's got a laundry list of medical. So he's either gonna stay with us and live out his days, or we find the absolute perfect family.
He's a really happy dog, and he's super, super easy.
Yes.
He loves his mama.
Yes, he's a mama's boy.
Yep. We got Wendy from Palm Valley, right?
Nope.
No?
San Antonio.
Yeah. So I was actually pooping, which is where I make my worst decisions, clearly. But we're not going to be taking on any more dogs. We're trying to kind of slow down.
Things down.
Yeah, because I mean, we had a lot of dogs. We have a lot that weren't at homes yet. We were looking for fosters, and I came across Wendy, and it was one of those dogs that just hits you, and you have to go do it. So I think we drove out the next day,
Yep.
like 8-10
Well,
hours.
she was gonna get put
and
down
she was red
that
listed.
day.
Yeah.
When we saw her, it said gunshot wound.
So I'll show you guys. Here,
Gunshot victim.
I got her.
Hi, Mama. Ready?
Right on the back end over here.
It's actually closed up a lot.
I mean, this thing, guys.
It was knuckle deep for me.
You could, you could stick your whole finger in it, and it was about like 3 times the size in diameter. So they said that she was a gunshot victim, which
Not true.
was
If you know
incorrect.
anything about
was,
projectiles or bullets.
was not correct. What ended up happening to Wendy is she probably had some sort of accident. She might have been hit by a car, and she lost the use of her back legs. So then she was sitting on that side for a really long time, an abscess created, and then it ruptured. So that's where the hole comes from.
Where's your ball?
What's this, Wendy?
Oh, yeah. Attack! Attack! Get it.
Okay, well, can I have it?
Yeah, but I mean, Wendy is a special needs dog.
Yep.
And she's gonna need a very special person to take care of her. Like, even if she does get her legs back, it's gonna take a special person to love her. Like, I think she's adorable, but like, she kind of looks like a fruit bat. Side by side, fruit bat Wendy, insert. She's, I mean, yeah, she really is cute. I mean, she could make someone really happy.
I know.
It's just gonna take the
She's gonna take someone really happy as she gnaws my hand off. I'll grab Howie. You just hold on to her. Howie will come out in a leash, on a leash.
Yeah.
Howie is kind of unpredictable. We can't figure out what his triggers are. He came into the shelter as an owner surrender for medical. He was completely emaciated. He had purple iodine all over his body because he had some sort of skin allergy. You could tell he was abused in the sense where loud noises terrify him. You raise your hand up, he squints, but it's not like flight, he's fight. So he will growl and charge at you.
It's like a classic case of a really traumatized dog. Like, he's been through a serious trauma. He was very severely abused. Like, that much is obvious. He doesn't trust people.
And then you see tiny Howie.
Terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying. Come on, let's keep it moving. He's really watching you, huh?
You're okay. He's a friend.
These really like neglected dogs, you want to coddle them and love the shit out of them.
'Cause
And
you feel-
Howie, once he warms up to you, he'll let you like love on him and coddle him, but you have to draw a line. You have to keep boundaries and structure. If you don't have structure in your home, that dog's gonna fail. They're gonna revert back to why they ended up there.
We explain Howie, but it's a great way to explain any dog out of the shelter. Treat them like a cat.
Yep.
When a cat doesn't like something, a cat's gonna let you know. But no one bats an eye because it's a cat.
Yeah.
You don't go up to a cat and grab it and hug it because the cat's gonna claw your fucking face off. That's gonna be Howie.
Yeah.
You try to hug Howie, Howie's gonna probably gnaw your face off.
He'll let you know.
Yeah, he will let you know. And even when he's approaching, like at night when we're sitting out here in the morning drinking coffee, and he'll come up and nudge for pets, it's on his terms. I never go up to him and pet him without his consent.
Yeah.
Like, he'll let me know when he's ready to be pet. If I just approach without letting him know or without him seeing me first, that's a very easy way to get bit.
Yeah, you've noticed by now, all the rescue dogs are in crates. We do crate train the dogs. The biggest thing, or the biggest reason, is really security for them. These dogs, God forbid, we don't want them to be bounced around, but it could happen, especially going from a foster to a trial run, when they're with us and we're evaluating them. So their crate is their one constant. It's the constant variable for them. It's a safe place. So they get treats in there, they get fed in there. It becomes their home. Like, no matter where they go, whether it's a trial run, foster, that's the one thing that stays the same. But some people are against crate training.
I think some people just don't understand crates. They think it's a cage and dogs are kept there all day, and that's not what a crate is. It's a safe place for these dogs to help decompress in when you're going from being at a shelter where it's very loud and there's a lot of things happening. To have a place like this that's quiet is like crucial. So one of the reasons we have this crate for Mateo is when we first got him, he had severe separation anxiety, specifically with me, because he was a really intense medical case. He did not have a hair on his body and had chronic diarrhea, which we thought was a parasite in his stomach. Turned out he had perineal hernias in his rectum, and he was hairless because he had that cryptorchid, which the testicles are in the abdomen twisted up. So anyways, because he was such a severe medical case, and I was in the process of moving at the time, he was in a bedroom with me. And that's when he was recovering from surgery. We had him in a crate prior to that, and he broke out of the regular crate and really hurt himself. So we started slowly crate training him. We had to get him a high impact crate. He physically cannot get out of this thing, and he can't hurt himself. That's the biggest thing. So what we started to do was we just built the crate in the room. So it was just part of the room. So it wasn't a scary thing for him. And then you place the bed in there, you keep the door open, he can come and go as he pleases, and then you start placing treats and Kong toys filled with peanut butter and bully sticks, and that becomes the place where he gets all the fun stuff. So you slowly crate train a dog. It's not just shoving a dog in a crate. Unfortunately, he became protective with the kids, and Grandma came over. Grandma picked up one of the little girls. The little girl was screaming because she's excited to see Grandma, and Mateo bit the back of the grandma's sweater and didn't break skin. There was a little bit of bruising. So obviously you have a situation like that, and and
No lock knees in rescue.
I know, and it can be off-putting to a new family and scary for them, but it's something that they could have easily worked through. It would have just required some training and some structure on Mateo, meaning we always tell our fosters that if a new person comes over, the dog goes in its crate. We don't know if the dog is going to become protective of your home.
If you fostered for us or if you've been involved with our rescue, there's a reason we have the contract in place and the rules we do. Like we touched on earlier, it keeps you safe, it keeps the dog safe, because Mateo originally, when he went up on Pet Finder, we had like 5 to 10 apps within a minute, like immediately, because he checks off every single box.
Yep.
Since that trial run, now that he has a bite history and we disclosed that, we've gotten like 1 app in the last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
So if you're sticking your dog or your face in a dog's face you don't know, if you're breaking the rules of the contract, if you're putting the dog in a spot to fail, and you're the reason for that bite history, you're really screwing their chances.
Yeah.
It's really sad to see, because you do see a lot of dogs bite history, and it's such a turnoff for people. And I wouldn't say most of the time, but sometimes it's not their fault.
It come to you. He's gonna run away from you.
No, Mama won.
Cheers. Whenever we do these cross country, but from Texas to LA or LA to Texas, just about, we do these ask us anything you guys want. And one of the most frequently asked questions is how the rescue got started. So I'm gonna now talk about that. It's actually really simple. I lived in a not so great area in Los Angeles, and I couldn't leave my house without finding a stray dog. And I wouldn't just take them in and take them to the shelter. I would take them to the vet, and I would get them scanned, and then I'd go to PetSmart and get them a collar and a name tag, and I would get them vetted, and I would post them on Paw Boost and the Nextdoor app, and if I couldn't find their owners, I would do a 30-day hold, and then I would place them up for adoption to find their forever home.
And in the meantime, spend a lot of your own money.
Oh, I was spending a lot of my own money. Like, I don't even want to do the math of how much money was spent. My first kind of like quote unquote year in rescue. And then after a few months of doing that, I realized, okay, I needed to file for my nonprofit license so that I can raise funds. The very first dog that I pulled out of the shelter, I actually adopted her out of the shelter because I was still not a rescue according to the shelter. You have to have your nonprofit license in order to be considered a rescue. So I adopted Darla, which was an English bulldog, and she broke my heart. The minute I saw her on Instagram, she had welts and scabs all for like the back of her head all the way down to her mid back, and I pulled her out of the shelter. And after I got her vetted the first day, the vet looks at me and goes, "You know this is like a $9,000 dog, right?" And I was like, oh my God. Like I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? So I did a GoFundMe for her, and I was able to raise, I think it was like 5,000 of that. So the other portion of that came out of pocket. She found an amazing forever home, but that's how the rescue started. It was just picking up stray dogs and then realizing how much money I was spending, and wanting to do it on a bigger scale, and finding fosters and getting contracts and agreements in place, and being able to raise funds so that I can help impact more lives. So that's how it started. It was just picking up stray dogs and realizing how fulfilling that was for me and how it made me feel.
Especially the medical, which clearly has trended over into our rescue now.
Like literally from day one. Yeah, from day one, it's always been like the ones that need the most rescuing.
The ones nobody wants.
Yeah.
The ones that take 6 months to home. But
we're okay with that.
It's the most fulfilling.
Yeah. You have to establish yourself as a rescue with shelters. You can't just go in and pull a dog. You have to fill out a whole application, put references down. They call your vets, they call your fosters, they call other rescues. and then you send them your 501c3 nonprofit license. And so there's a whole thing behind it before getting your pool rights. After you get your pool rights, then you get daily emails of dogs that are medical, red listed, about to be put down. You name it, we get emailed about. So we have pool rights in over 30 different shelters. So every morning we wake up
Yep.
and we call it dog shopping. In the morning, coffee, and then at night,
Whiskey.
dog shopping. For those of you that aren't following the rescue on Instagram or haven't been following us for a while, we pull medical, like extreme medical cases, seniors,
Or behavioral.
behavioral cases.
I love behavioral.
He loves
Behavioral's a good time. It's a lot of work, but it's a good time. This page really, like, we're going to make it instructional. We're definitely going to have some crazy road trips. Steph and I have probably logged 200 hours in the last 6 months in a Sprinter van, transporting dogs, pulling dogs, picking up dogs. Also, that comes out of pocket. We're working on possibly setting up a different way to donate, whether it's, going through a note for transport. But as of now, every penny goes to the dogs. So when we do one of these road trips, we're spending $800 to $1,000 on a van to get the dogs out because we can't load them up in our car, 4 or 5 dogs.
And we have had a number of people message us like, hey, we want to donate towards gas, or we want to help you guys on your next spinner van that you guys rent. Shout out to Jill. Who's going to take care of our next trip, which we're super excited about. We haven't planned out our next trip. We're kind of in transition. We don't know if we want to continue pulling dogs out of LA. And that's just from a standpoint, we are very hands-on. We love being at the shelter when the dog goes out, going to vet appointments, helping our fosters.
It's what we love to do.
That's what we love to do. But moving to Texas and not being able to be as hands-on and be there when a foster needs us. Granted, we have 2 amazing volunteers.
Shout out Lindsay. Shout out Kathy. You two, they're rock stars in LA and they're experienced fosters.
Right. And our friend Naya, she has her own rescue and she saves our asses a lot.
And that doesn't mean, we do have some good fosters in LA.
Oh, absolutely.
Lindsay and Kathy are just 2 people that we can throw any dog at them.
Yeah, they're super
And
experienced.
we know they're going to hold it down and they don't need us. So having those 2 is huge. It's just, if something happens out here at the drop of a hat, like we could get a call. That's why our phones are out. Like we can get a call right now. And we pack up, we hit the road, we go take care of it. In LA, we can't do that. We have had trips where quite literally,
it was last minute.
Yeah, we get a call and it's like, oh, well, it's Wednesday, we need to get a van Thursday and take off Friday.
Right. So on those trips, it's tough because we obviously have our dogs here, right? So it's been a learning experience for us trying to transition and expand the rescue to Texas and learn to
delegate.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that word.
She's not a fan. It's a cringe word for her.
Oh God.
It's okay.
Triggered.
Yeah.
It's really hard trying to delegate, ask for help, and save dogs in LA when there's so many moving parts. Like people don't realize when there's a dog out of the shelter or there's a dog in a shelter that we want to save, there are foster applications. We need to hop on calls with people. We do virtual home checks. Then we have to figure out a transport. We order supplies or we buy supplies. We make a vet appointment. We get the dog to the vet prior to going to its foster home if it's extreme medical.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that go into just pulling one dog.
And we like to see it through. We get updates still from dogs that have been homed over a year ago. We follow up every step of the way.
Oh, I harass.
We harass. It's in the contract.
You say it nicely. I honestly check in every few months.
Yeah.
Every few months, I will text people who've adopted from us 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I will check in. And I will say, hey guys, just need a follow-up here. Do you have any pictures? I'd love to do an update post. And most of the people that have adopted from us understand. Understand
Life of
that
a supernova.
that we're very hands-on and that we love these animals so much. But yeah, so that's the hardest part right now is just trying to figure out if we're going to continue the rescue in LA
or lock it down in Texas.
Or lock it down here and just grow it here. Yeah.
We definitely got a lot of fun stuff planned. I know we detour a lot. We got some active lines here, but it's going to be some crazy rescue trips. We're going to take you guys through a full day in the life today. You kind of got a snippet because we were doing some other things. So you kind of caught us from dinner time on. But we'll definitely do some full days. We'll do some emergency runs to the shelter. We'll show you guys what pulling a dog looks like and what our steps are right after.
Yep.
Some instructional stuff, breaking up dog fights, redirecting, which we get a lot. So that's going to be a good time.
Yep.
and we'll definitely try and end more nights out by a campfire with whiskey. We could
Yeah, I know.
definitely use a whiskey sponsor if you guys know somebody.
Yep. We will also be reaching out to our fosters in LA to do
Handle.
kind of day in the life of videos of the pups that we have left in LA. Like I said, we aren't really sure about what we want to do with the rescue in Los Angeles because I have such great ties with the shelters out there.
And trainers.
And trainers. And
That's-
just, it's just hard. It's hard
It is.
delegating. It's hard letting go of something that that was built over 3 years. So that's the hard part. But there's so many babies out here in Texas that need our help too. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what it kind of morphs into in the next few months. We are looking at a few pieces of property. Hopefully we can lock that down in the next few months.
Yep.
And that'll just allow us to have A, more space, B, no neighbors, so that we can rescue more dogs.
Yep. We already have a piece of property lined up for Montana.
Yep.
The hard part really for building the sanctuary has been, in order for us to go build a sanctuary, we need a higher volume of fosters. Because as much as we want to have time to go build, because
Yeah.
we're hands-on, we're going to physically go build this sanctuary from the ground up. But it's hard because, we'll get down to like 2 dogs in the house and then we'll see a group out in Palm Valley, we'll drive out and take 4 home and we can't,
It's terrible.
We can't get away and
It's
go
so
build
terrible.
a sanctuary up.
We know
like
that
this.
we need to slow down
Yeah.
so that we can grow the rescue, but that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Is telling ourselves like, no, like another rescue will step up because sometimes they don't.
So, if you guys want to foster, slide in our DMs, check out our Instagram
No.
at the Pawerful Rescue.
We will put the link below.
Yeah, that
the
one.
link
Yeah.
for the foster
YouTube's new.
below. YouTube is new for him. Excuse
Technology.
him. We'll put the link below so that you guys can fill out an application. We can hop on a call, see if you're a good fit. But just know this: if you foster for us, we're gonna hound you, and B, there are rules that we follow in rescue just
yes.
to keep everyone safe.
2 big ones real quick though. 2 big ones, we get this a lot.
boy.
We do crate train. So the dogs have to be crate trained. We
Yep.
went over this a little bit earlier. That's for their own safety and your safety, and it keeps the dog comfortable. And then 2, because the dogs we pull, 99% of the time, it doesn't matter if your dog is good with other dogs. The dog coming out of the shelter needs to be separated at least until that dog can decompress. So that means rotating crates. That means having the dog in a separate room, a separate space. And that's good for the dog because the dog needs to decompress. The dog needs to get comfortable. We have no idea what its temperament is most
Right.
of the time coming out of a shelter. Like, we can evaluate, but especially as the dog starts to feel better, their personality really comes out. So until we can come over personally or one of our trainers can come over, you have to be willing to rotate crates.
Yep.
Those are the 2 big rules. Everything else we can get into on a call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You must be in Los Angeles or
Yes.
surrounding areas, like in a hour and a half kind of radius. And then in Texas, because we were looking at properties in the outskirts, anywhere,
Dallas, Austin.
honestly, yeah, anywhere from Dallas to Austin, you're good to go.
Yep. But
That's
that's
it.
our rescue in a nutshell.
Yep.
Stay tuned. It's going to be a good time.
Cheers.